Hello. I am a couple minutes early, I think, so I'm just going to hang out here and knit until some people hop on. Hey, how are you? Oh my gosh, there's people here. Hey guys. Okay, so this is the first time I'm doing this, so I'm a little freaked out, so keep talking to me. It's good. That's okay. I woke up at 12 o'clock today because I was up until like 3:30 a.m. watching the Brooke Knits live stream. Oh my gosh, hi Anna. Okay, so I'm just gonna do my like boring admin-y intro because I think a lot of people are gonna be watching this after the fact. So if this is the first time you're on my channel, my name is Caitlin and this is the WoolJewel Podcast, and this is a live stream for the first time. So, if you haven't joined the WoolJewel Podcast Ravelry group, definitely do that. I have 2 knit-alongs going on. The Any Sock Will Do Cal, which is for any of your socks that you're not entering into any other knit-along. And then I've also got the Halloween knit-along, which is the Big Scary Cal. So... okay, all your little chat things are disappearing like 2 seconds after they show up, so I'm missing them. I don't really know. Hi, Clara. Yeah, so if you want to do the Big Scary Knit-Along, I'm just encouraging everybody to knit something that scares you. I am so scared of my project for the Big Scary Knit-Along that I haven't cast it on yet. Hey! Oh my gosh, what time is it in El Paso? Hi, Leah. Oh, okay, that's not too early. Awesome. Ah, this is so cool. I should do this more. This is fun. I haven't even really started, but I already like this. Okay, so do you guys want to see my new sweaters? I finished 2 sweaters in the past few days. Hi, Carmen. Yeah, the good thing about live streaming is I don't have to edit afterwards. I'm really excited about that. Okay, so let me just make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Yeah, so if you get tired of listening to me talk, I want all of you guys to go check out the Brooke Knits live stream. If you haven't seen already, she's doing a 24-hour live stream. She's attempting to knit a lemongrass sweater in 24 hours, and she's doing it to raise money for Hurricane Irma victims. So if you just search YouTube for Brooke Knits, you should be able to find her live stream, and it's been pretty awesome seeing her sweater unfold live, and she's a pretty fast knitter, so she might just do it. And she's got a $500 goal, and she's almost there, so yeah, definitely go check her out. Or if you don't have time to check her out, I still encourage everybody to donate a little bit for the victims. Globalgiving.org is the website she's using, and they're really great because they keep helping after like the emergency part is over, so it's a really good organization. Oh, okay, Becky. Yeah, okay, so if you go find Brooke Knits on Instagram, she has a link in her bio to her YouTube channel, so you can find her there. That might be easier. Okay, let's talk about some knitting. So I have finished my white horse sweater. Here it is. I'm really, really happy with it. The yarn I used is hand-dyed by me. And it's not quite what I was going for. I'm not an expert dyer, but I still am really happy with the color. I think it's a little washed out with the lighting in here. Becky, knit your own. Okay, so, yeah. I did this as a test knit for Caitlin Hunter. Thank you, you guys. Thank you. And she didn't really give us an actual deadline, so I don't really feel that bad about not finishing when the pattern was released. So, yeah, but I do feel good about one thing. There are these baubles in the lace, and the way she had the baubles in the pattern were not coming out well for me. You can see that the top couple rows of baubles are a lot flatter, and they don't really stick out than the ones down here. And I was not happy with the way they looked, so I played around with how to make baubles, and I tried a few different things, and hi Ben, you guys, my husband is here. He is somewhere in Southwest Asia tuning in. It says waiting for WoolJewel. Can you guys hear and see me? Is it messed up? Hello? Okay. Okay. All right, we're back. So, yeah, I was talking about the baubles, and I played around with the baubles a little bit, and I'm pretty proud of myself because I figured out a better bauble, and Caitlin ended up using my better bauble in her pattern, so I'm pretty excited about that. I feel like I contributed to the test knit even though I didn't finish on time. Yeah, so the sleeves are actually quite different. If you've seen on Instagram this sweater or Ravelry, the sleeves are pretty different. Hers are more of like a puff sleeve and sit right at the elbow. But I like my sleeves to be about right here and more fitted, so I just did more decreases. And I did the decreases differently than I've ever done a sleeve. Like normally you do, in a decrease round, 2 decreases like right in the center of the sleeve. But just the way that this is shaped, and the fact that the yoke ended up coming down like way past my armpit, I kind of wanted it to be more of a rounded armpit than just like a normal one. I don't even know if that makes sense. And I thought I would just kind of experiment anyway, so I ended up doing a panel, I guess, of 10 stitches in the middle, and then did the decreases on each side of those 10 stitches. And I think, I mean, I don't really know, but I think that it kind of created more of a rounder armpit instead of just like the corner that you normally get. I don't know, but I like how it looks when I wear it. Should I put it on? Should we have a fashion show on YouTube? I'm gonna put it on. Fashion show, fashion show, fashion show on YouTube. Yeah, so the neck sits pretty high. I don't think I've ever knit something with this high of a neck before, but I really like it. I'm not really used to feeling it. Yes, the office. Where are my office people? Yeah, but I really like it. And then you can kind of see what I mean by the armpit, how it's kind of like rounder. And then the yoke. Okay, so my problem with, thank you. My problem with gauge, like my stockinette gauge fit perfectly with the pattern, but the yoke is kind of like the main feature of this sweater, and I didn't know what to do because I felt like my lace gauge was going to be looser than the original. Becky, no, it's mine. You can borrow it. Okay, so I feel like my gauge must have been way looser in the lace than in the stockinette than it was supposed to be, because like it just came down really, really low. Like this is my armpit right here. So it went pretty far. So it's kind of one of those things where if you lift your arms too high that it kind of pulls up. But that's why I just knit the body longer than I kind of planned on. But it still lifts up really high, so just have to be careful. I don't care. I like it. And I wore it this morning to Starbucks. And you know when you finish something and you're really excited about it and you're like, I just need one person to tell me that I have an awesome sweater on, and then nobody notices it? I had one person tell me that they liked my sweater today, and she asked if I knit it because I was carrying a Stephen and Penelope tote bag. And she was like, I think you're a knitter, and I like your sweater, and it was awesome. It made me really happy. So, I'm glad you guys like it. I had fun knitting it. I really recommend this pattern, and I've said this before, I'm not a big lace knitter, but I thought it was really enjoyable, and not that difficult. Like, lace looks so difficult if you have never knit lace before, but it's just as simple as following the instructions. Like, you just do one stitch at a time and you're fine. It's not that big of a deal. So don't be scared of lace. Yes. Okay. I'm trying to think if I had anything else to say about this. This is the hard thing about live stream, is I can't edit out the parts where I'm looking in my show notes. Yes, Anna, I dyed this myself. What are you guys knitting? What are you knitting right now? Tell me what you're knitting while I'm looking at my stuff. Okay, so I guess the last thing I wanted to say about this is I knit this in Superwash yarn. Ooh, Sunset Highway. Yeah, so the Superwash does grow, like everybody knows. But for me, it tends to only grow lengthwise instead of widthwise. Is that normal? Does that happen to you guys? So I feel like when I'm swatching Superwash, the swatch is never going to stretch as much as the sweater actually will. So I just always end up knitting a couple inches shorter for the sleeves and the body. But I don't ever have to do anything to the number of stitches I cast on or for the width or anything. Vulpix shawl? I don't know that one. I thought I knew all the Stephen West patterns. Oh, Andy Satterland. I haven't knit any of those patterns, but I've got a bunch of my favorites. Yeah. Okay. I think that's all I had to say about this, but if you guys have any opinions on, or just like thoughts and experiences about Superwash stretching, I want to know, because I have a lot of Superwash yarn, and I'm just kind of trying to knit my way through it because I want to get back to some non-Superwash. But so far it's only stretched lengthwise, so yeah, I don't know if that's the same for everybody else. And I'm also really careful when I'm blocking. I do wet block everything, but when I take it out of the water, I make sure that I'm not just picking it up and letting it hang, so I think that helps a lot with the stretching. I kind of just ball it up and squeeze all the water out, and then do the thing where you roll it in a towel to kind of squeeze all the water out, and I just make sure every time I pick it up that I'm not picking up one part and letting the rest stretch out. I think that makes a big difference if you're gonna wet block some Superwash. garments. Okay. That's it for White Horse. I love it. I recommend it to everyone, even if you're afraid of lace. It was not that bad. Okay. I'm going to talk about my Camaro now because it's done. And if you guys have been watching, you know like how much of a struggle this was for me. But here it is. Yes. Okay. This is a weird pattern. Thank you. Yeah, so I knit this with all Madeline Tosh yarns. Thank you, Melanie. Hi. But they're not all the same base. It is a mixture of the like MCN Sport base, I can't remember what they call it, and Long Rider DK, and the Tosh DK, and I think there's one more in here. I don't remember. It's all either Sport or DK, but their Sport weight is kind of heavy, like it's closer to a DK. And I did some digging because I was having problems with gauge, as you guys know, and it turns out that their Tosh DK used to be called Tosh Worsted, and that kind of like made everything make sense to me, why my gauge was off and like so different between the different yarns, because the Tosh DK is like borderline worsted. Like it's a pretty thick DK. So it's the same exact base, but they just changed the name of it because I think it's not quite a worsted. I don't know. Just keep that in mind if you're like ordering yarn from Madeline Tosh. Their Sport's almost a DK, and their DK is almost a worsted. So I do know that this black yarn is the Tosh DK, and that one, my gauge was the most different for the different stripes. So the colorways I used are Vishnu. Yes, right? It's totally worsted. So this is Vishnu, Void, Dirty Harry, which I think is a new color, and it's really autumny and amazing, and I love it. And this one is DeLorean. Ben got this for me for Christmas, I think, or my birthday. I can't remember. It was a gift from Ben. And this skein of DeLorean is like 4 times more yellow than what it looks like on the website. I don't know if this was just kind of a mistake skein or something that was in the sales section. Ben says it was birthday yarn. Thanks, Ben. But yeah, I was looking at DeLorean online because I like the color, and I thought I might get some more, but there's more white in it, it looks like, online. That's Ben, yes. That's him. And this one I think is called Sidewalk Chalk. And these were all just in my stash. I did not buy these specifically for this sweater. I've been collecting DK yarns. Hi, Ben. For a long time for a different sweater, and then I ended up not liking the fabric I was getting for that sweater, and so I just decided to put them in something else. Coffee sending Ben, yes. Yeah. Ben's a good coffee sender. And this main colorway is a one-of-a-kind Madeline Tosh colorway. If you guys are not aware, Madeline Tosh has amazing sales. Their sale section is great because they put all of their like experimental yarns. Hi, this is the Camaro sweater. If you're just tuning in, we're talking Camaro right now. So the main color is a one-of-a-kind, and if you want Madeline Tosh yarn, but it's usually like 20 or 30% off, their sale section is great because if they have skeins that don't quite look right for a certain colorway or something, they just put them in the sale section, and so, yeah. They're usually just in quantities of like 1 or 2, so, yeah, you'll get some good one-of-a-kind colors in there. But this I thought was really amazing and Halloween-y because it's got a little bit of orange. Ah, hi, Michelle. Give Willow a scratch for me. Yes. How many balls of the sleeve and body did I need? Just 2. So it was just 2 skeins, and I was almost in yarn chicken territory for the body and the sleeves. So this pretty much used 2 whole ones, and this isn't very helpful, but I didn't really knit a real size because I had to make so many adjustments. Thanks, Michelle. Yeah, I had to make a lot of adjustments to make this pattern work for me. So if you're knitting something larger than like the small or medium size, then you might need a 3rd skein. But like I said, I can't really tell you because oh, put it on. Okay, fashion show. Split hem. Yes, I love the split hem. I want to do this more, and I made the back one slightly longer because I just like that look. Okay, fashion show time. Okay, goodbye, white horse. Ooh, it's cold without my sweater on. Melanie, I can't play music during the live stream because of like copyright issues. Okay. Here it is. So the sleeves are like just long enough to grab, which I like, but then I like having the longer ribbing because then I can fold it up to where I usually wear my sleeves. Yeah. Oh my gosh, thank you, you guys. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. I think the colors are really autumny. What was the first sweater you had on with the stars on it? I didn't talk about what I'm wearing. What I was wearing. I will talk about the sweater I was wearing at the beginning of the podcast when we're done with this one. I think I've mentioned almost everything. Yeah, so if you're worried about yarn quantities for this, the cool thing about this pattern is that you can make this chevron go as far as you want. Like, you can just keep striping. Like, you could even put this chevron all the way down at the bottom. Because, I don't know, that's just how the pattern works. You just go as far as you want with the chevron, and then there are steps when you're done with the striping to even it out, like with short rows, and then you knit the hem. So it's really customizable. Like, you could even just make, I think the chevrons at least have to go to where the sleeve splits. So I could have stopped at the yellow, or I could have kept going. So I think that's the cool thing about this sweater. And there are a lot of people on Ravelry. Why did I have problems making it? Okay, so first of all, my gauge was off, which usually if I don't hit gauge, it's not a problem for me because I just do a lot of math and make adjustments as I go to make the sweater work for me. I'm comfortable doing that. But this sweater is unique in that if you look at the yoke, the chevron is part of the yoke. So the yoke measurement is not a normal circumference, like a width that you're measuring. Like, usually you can just say, I need this many stitches around to get the size that I want, because the yoke is just going to be sitting like this, like horizontally across your body. Are the sleeves shaped as a, is that supposed to say raglan? It's not really a raglan, but the yoke measurement, you have to count the stitches that go down and up for the chevron, and then across your back. So it was really difficult to know exactly how many stitches I needed to get the measurement I wanted. I couldn't just like plug some numbers in for my bust circumference because it's just not shaped like that. So I guessed the size, which I think I was knitting, there's a lot of different sizes, it's not just like small, medium, large. So the size I chose ended up being like huge, and I knit all the way down to here, and it was just like a tent on me, and there wasn't really much I could do except just start over. So I had a really sad day where I frogged the whole thing, and yeah, I'm happy with it now, but the increases are a little weird also because it's kind of rounded. Like, I've never done a rounded toe sock, but I think it's kind of like the top of a hat, where it kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, but that's kind of how the increases are for this. So the back, I don't know if you can see it, but the back is kind of rounded because of the increases. And it doesn't really sit flat across my back, so it has a little bit of a weird fit that's not that obvious. So I decided to knit 4 sizes smaller for the neck. Yes, you're so right. Frogging is part of knitting, so as much as I'm okay with the logic of it, that doesn't mean it's any fun. Yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, so I just kind of like kept increasing until it worked for me, and honestly, it just felt really random, and I didn't even write anything down because I had to change it so many times. So what I did was I just went until I felt like the armpits would be comfortable, and then I knit decreases here because this is not a horizontal yoke like this, it's more like this shape. It also, for some reason, makes the bottom of the sweater kind of A-line even if you aren't increasing. So I just did some decreasing around the waist, and I have never done body shaping stuff before. I've almost always knit sweaters that are just like a tube for the body and all the fancy stuff up here and stuff. So that was interesting and experimental, and I'm not going to knit this again because to make it work I had to do a lot of stuff. I didn't write any of it down because I was changing it so much that like I couldn't even keep up with myself if I tried to write it down, so sorry, it's not much help. But there's a lot of people that had issues with it on Ravelry too, so I think there are other people with more helpful comments. How long did it take to knit? Let me look in my bullet journal. I have... So what I do in my bullet journal is create a project page, just like in Ravelry, but I just like to have it written down instead of on the computer. So this says, I cast it on August 3rd, and I did the bind off on September 13th. I did take like 2 weeks off of this sweater in the middle when it was very frustrating and I was on vacation. Yes, this is more like a knitting journal than because I don't really have a life other than like knitting. So this is all knitting stuff. It's like all project pages, and I'm really, really bad about updating my Ravelry, so I'm gonna maybe have a day where I just kind of update everything. Yeah, so I think that's about it for my Camaro. I'm pretty happy with the fit, with all those adjustments I had to make, and yeah, I'm actually really, really in love with DK weight sweaters right now. Like, these are both DK weight. Yes, you're right. I refer to my project page when I do show notes instead of just kind of like create a whole new thing. You're right. Yeah, but these are both DK weight, and I'm loving the fabric that it makes. I knit them both on size US 6 needles too, so yeah, it's kind of the perfect weight because it makes sense. It's like not too heavy where you can still layer it, but it's just thick enough that you can wear it by itself and not be cold, so I think I'll try to knit more DK weight sweaters. But I gotta get through some of my sweater stash first. If you look back here, like, these 3 cubbies are all sweater quantities of yarn. So I'm really trying to make a dent in all of those before I buy more sweater quantities. Okay, let me tell you about the sweater I was wearing when I started. I'm going to put it back on. So this is the Starring by Stephen West. And it's a little crazy. It's a lot crazy. If you've been watching since the beginning of like when I started my podcast, I talked a lot about how in 2016 I knit a sweater every month as kind of a resolution. And this was my January sweater. So this was kind of the sweater that kicked everything off. Just realized you're sitting back in the spot. Yes, this was where I filmed my first episode. It's really tiny in here, but this is where I get the best light later in the day. So, yeah, I'm going to show you my sweater now. Okay, so it has this big, long thing. Right? It's crazy. Yeah, what can I say about this? Yeah, this was the first sweater I did in my year of sweaters. I knit the main part, the white part, with Malabrigo merino worsted, and as much as I love the yarn and how it feels and everything, I won't use it again for a sweater. Yes, seed stitch is the best. I love seed stitch. I know a lot of people really hate seed stitch, but the way I knit makes seed stitch fun and fast. It's not as tedious, I think, as when I used to do the wrapping. I switched to Continental several years ago, and that made seed stitch really fun for me. So, are there people spamming my live stream? So rude. Okay, so yeah, I'm not going to use this yarn for a sweater again because it pills. It's single ply. This was before I like knew anything, and like you can see, it got really fuzzy. It did not have a halo when I first knit it. Yeah, you guys, kick them out. Yeah, so I don't know. And I actually never blocked this because it's kind of huge. And I didn't want it to get bigger, and I didn't know if it would because I just didn't really know enough about blocking or knitting in general. I just kind of like did this. Yeah, well, you're going to be bored if you're not into knitting, so have fun. So, and I also used a crochet hook for the first time to make these stars. So that took a lot longer than it should have because I didn't know what I was doing, but it was kind of fun to just experiment. And then this is Edison Bulb, Madeline Tosh, DK. Maybe it's not DK. I don't remember what it is. Held with a single ply speckly yarn. I think it's Madeline Tosh. I know that it's Tosh Merino Light, but I don't remember the colorway. Knit all the Stephen West sweaters. I am the last person to not enable you, so you should do it. And these were all just stash yarns, which was really fun to do. And to get this effect, I wanted it to kind of look woven. So this is a seed stitch square, basically. And I think what I did was change yarn every 3 to 5 rows. So I kind of made it random, but I kind of had a rule where I had to use each yarn at least once before I repeated another yarn. And then I also only ever held one yarn for 3 to 5 rows. So it kind of made it random and it kind of made it uniform at the same time. So there's a little bit of mohair in here. And these are all different weights. I have everything from a mohair right here to like a chunky weight yarn. Thank you. Yes, I have been very lucky with fit, I think. I don't do a whole lot with gauge, so, I mean, I do swatches and stuff, but I kind of like to just adjust things as I go and, I don't know, avoid frogging entire sweaters as much as possible. I've only done that twice. Only. I feel like that's still a lot. Okay. What else can I say about this? Yeah, okay, so the pattern originally has a little button, like you put a little loop on this, and then a button in the back so that you can clip it up here, but I knew that I would never do that, so I didn't do that. I just didn't feel like it. And I've never knit something with buttons. I think I've only done that once, actually, and I feel like I can never find buttons I like, so yeah. Where do you guys get buttons? Because I have a hard time finding buttons I like. And I never want to knit cardigans and stuff that have buttons because, I don't know. It's cold here. It's actually been cold enough to wear sweaters here for a few weeks now, so. Is there a way to kick out trolls? I don't really have an option to, like, look at the whole comment thing right now. Secondhand stores. Yes, that's a good idea. Oh, thanks, Allison. I'll check it out. Yeah, I've been searching Etsy, but I, like, still don't really, I don't know. It's hard to find things. My favorite yarn for sweaters that don't pill. I don't have one favorite, but if I'm knitting a sweater and I don't want it to pill, which is, like, all times, my advice is to get a plied yarn that is worsted spun. So worsted spun yarn. This is not worsted weight yarn. Oh, I'll show you guys this in a little bit. But yeah, if you want yarn that doesn't pill, worsted spun yarn has all the fibers like combed a certain way where they're all laying the same direction, and it kind of makes like a cleaner feeling wool, like, you know, kind of the way cotton is where it's like really smooth, like that's worsted. This amazing purple yarn that I'll talk about in a minute is worsted spun. Sorry, it won't focus, but you can see like there's no fuzz on it. If it has fuzz in the skein, it's gonna pill. So you want to get something that's like not fuzzy. It can be soft, but you don't want fuzzy. You don't want a halo. Nylon helps with not pilling, and the more plies it has, then the less it will pill. At least in my experience. Like, I could just be saying things that are not true, but this is just my experience. So, yeah. I think that this will be great for not pilling, like this one, because these are both plied DK yarns that have no halo at all. And this sweater, you can see, like, this is a single ply yarn, and it's super, super soft. Like, softness is not everything, you guys, because sometimes the super soft stuff is the stuff that pills. So, things that don't feel soft are definitely going to soften in the wash, at least in my experience. So don't let that be the first thing you look at when you're buying yarn. Yeah, but you can see how much fuzz there is, and then in the places that get more wear, there's a lot of pilling. I do use a gleaner, though. I just bought a gleaner. Yeah, single ply. Not good for sweaters. Yeah. Yeah, the gleaner is one of those things that you just kind of brush on your knitting that gets rid of the pills, which totally works and it's great. But if you do that for 20 years, like, eventually you're gonna glean your sweater away. Like, it's just gonna go away. So, I've only used the gleaner on, like, 1 or 2 sweaters so far. So, I just feel like the more fuzz that comes off and then you glean it away, like, isn't that eventually just gonna wear it down? So, I don't know. It's single. Yes! That's true. There's no ply. So single ply is not a real thing. I kind of just say that because that's what people tend to call it. I think it's technically called singles, which also doesn't make sense because single can't be plural because it's single. So what do we call it? I don't know. Yeah. But I learned that when I started spinning, that you're not supposed to call it single ply because the act of plying is putting 2 singles together. So that's true. Okay. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my current work in progress. Yay. This is the Caramel Latte sweater by Danny Sunshine, I think. This is a designer I had never heard of. I have about 300 patterns in my favorites on Ravelry, but when it's time to cast on something new, I have to go find something new. Like, I very rarely actually choose something in my favorites list. It's just crazy. So, this is a pattern that I found just the other day when I was looking for something to knit with this yarn. Ben got me this yarn for my birthday, and it is Birthday Cake by Hedgehog Fibers. This is their Merino Aran weight. And it's Superwash. You just gotta deal sometimes. You just gotta use a Superwash. But I don't know. I think if you go into a project knowing that it's gonna stretch afterwards, it's fine. Just make the adjustments. Yeah, so this batch of Birthday Cake actually came out much darker than their typical birthday cake. So, yeah, I just got a sweater's quantity, and I got a little extra. I don't know how to sew anything. I don't sew. I'm sorry. But yeah, I got a little extra than I needed because I knew that this was a darker batch than usual, and I was afraid of running out. So I have 7 of these, and I think that I'm going to be able to knit this with 5 or 6. But I really like this sweater because it's really wearable. I think that it is printed in a pattern book called I'm Totally Gonna Wear It or something like that, and they're so right. It's got this really cozy turtleneck with a moss rib or seed stitch rib or something. I don't know, it's like a textured rib pattern where it is really, it's like a 3D rib, and it's amazing. It's really squishy and cozy. I did the rib on a size US 7, and the body is on a US 8. The pattern calls for a US 9, but I just needed an 8 to get gauge. Yeah, so I'm really liking how it's knitting up. You can tell that, okay, I know when you have hand-dyed yarn, you're supposed to be alternating rows to avoid pooling, which is what I've been doing. The problem with that is that if you're doing that, you can see, like, you're going to run out of the 2 balls of yarn at the same time, and then you're going to pick up 2 new balls of yarn and start alternating those. So I think that you can see where I ran out of the first 2 balls and I started the second 2. Like, there's a lot more blue in there. I think it's kind of obvious. I don't know. What do you guys think? Thanks, Melanie. Yeah, I think it's kind of obvious where I ran out of yarn, but It's okay. I'm just going to roll with it. So this actually has optional waist shaping. You know, I had an idea to avoid this, it's not pooling really, but where you can see where it changes. Thanks, guys. Yeah, so I kind of was thinking, well, maybe I should have knit half of one ball of yarn and then alternate, like start alternating in the second ball so that I'm kind of only switching one ball at a time instead of two, but it's too late for that. I'm not going back. But I like it. I really like how this yarn knits up. It feels much, much faster. It feels much softer knit up than it does in the skein. And it felt really soft in the skein too, but I really like the fabric I'm getting. And I've never used Hedgehog Aran before. Hi, Kalisha. Yeah, I really like it. I think I've only ever tried their fingering weight yarns. And I'm totally with you, Becky. Not a fan of the sock. Not a fan of Hedgehog sock because it is super splitty. Yes, thank you. I think this is a really great colorway. Like, this is a purple sweater. But this textured rib is actually on the hem and on the cuffs. So I'm really excited because it was fun to knit and I've never done it before and I really, really like the fabric that it makes. Yeah. And this, you guys, I've only been knitting on this for like 3 days. Like, it's going really fast. I've only been doing like fingering and DK sweaters lately, so this has been really fun. Yeah, the splittiness is not just you. And do you want to know why? So I learned this from the woman who taught me to spin. Yeah, I'll have plenty of sweaters for Rhinebeck, except for the one Rhinebeck sweater I've been wanting to make, which is the Undawa, because I'm putting it off because I'm scared. So if you look at your twist in your yarn, it'll have a Z twist or an S twist. And depending on the way that you knit or crochet, it will slightly twist the yarn when you wrap or when you pick it up or whatever. So most yarns have an S twist in it, and that is because I think the way most people knit, it gives it slightly more twist to the S twist. If it has a Z twist, then it will slightly untwist as you knit with it. And I think that the Hedgehog sock has a Z twist, so that's why it splits, because as you knit with it, it is slightly untwisting. The more you know. I wish I had the shooting star thing. Yeah, so that's why it's splitty. And if you're having problems with your yarn, like, look at the twist on it and then kind of look at the way you knit and see if the way you're wrapping might be twisting it a certain way. I don't know. That contributes more to splitting, I think, than... Yes, apply science. Okay, so I think this is a good time to do giveaway stuff. I don't really know how to do a giveaway like through YouTube. So what I'm going to do is have you guys go to the Ravelry group. Hi. Welcome. So I'm going to do the giveaway through the Ravelry group. So if you're watching, anytime between now and like 30 minutes or an hour after I finish the live podcast, I'm going to close the thread. So there's a thread, there's a post by me for like, it says live stream September 17th or something like that. So just go in there and tell me, I don't know. I had a question prepared and I can't remember what it was. Tell me your favorite sweater pattern. That's what I want to know. Either one that you've knit or that's on your to knit list or whatever. Just tell me your favorite sweater pattern. And the prize is going to be this awesome German super sheepy rustic yarn. So this is from Collection de Vielfalt, and they are really passionate about conserving specific, like, domestic sheep breeds. So I was reading on their website that there are a lot of endangered species of, like, domestic sheep and other farm animals, and like these people that have been breeding sheep for a super long time kind of have their own breeds, so they're really small, and so a lot of them die out really fast. So this company is dedicated to preserving those really rare domestic sheep breeds. And so this is natural undyed wool. It's 100 grams, 130 meters, and it looks, you know, somewhere between like a, I don't know, this might be DK. I don't know, it's really hard for me to tell just looking at it. But this would be great for color work because it's not treated, it's not superwash, it's like super natural, it's 2-ply, it's kind of like very hand-spunny feeling, and it's awesome. And it smells good. I really like that sheep smell. So yeah, if you want to check out the website, you can just Google this. And in my live Instagram thing yesterday, I think I said something about it coming from a sheep cheese farm, but I don't know. I translated this label again, and I think I was wrong. I don't know where I got sheep cheese from. That might have been from a different yarn or something. So I don't know what I'm talking about. But it's still an awesome company, and it's an awesome yarn. So go tell me your favorite sweater pattern if you're just tuning in. There's a Ravelry thread in my... There's a thread in my Ravelry podcast group. It's WoolJewel Podcast. And, yeah, tell me your favorite sweater. And I will do a drawing an hour. I'll give you guys an hour if you're, like, watching this and you can't get on Ravelry right now. I'll do it an hour after I close this. Yeah. So I will mention that again later. So now I want to talk about some future knitting that I'm doing. I have some plans. So Rhinebeck is coming up, and I know I've mentioned my Rhinebeck sweater is supposed to be the Ondawa. That's also supposed to be my knit-along sweater. I'm gonna do it. I promise. I will try my hardest to get it done. August through Halloween is like my selfish sweater knitting time, because after Halloween is when I really get cracking on Christmas knitting. So yeah, I'm just taking the fall to do all the things for myself, because there's going to be a long stretch where I'm not doing anything for myself. And I kind of challenged myself to knit as many sweaters as I could before Rhinebeck. And right now I've got my Blythe sweater, my Tegna, the White Horse, and the Camaro all done. So that's 4. And then this will definitely be done soon, because this is going really fast. And then hopefully the Ondawa, and that'll be 6. Oh yeah, and you guys, I signed up for another test knit. It's due October 16th, and I don't know what I was thinking. I'm excited about it. It's on size US 10 needles, so I'm pretty sure I can knit that in like a really quick amount of time. But I told the designer like a long time ago I'd be interested in testing when she was ready to release it. And, oh my gosh, is that Tommy? Your comment disappeared. And so she said she was ready to release it, and I was like, you know what, I've got like a gazillion sweaters going, but I'm going to do this anyway. And it's with bulky yarn, so it's going to go really fast, so I'll have that one too. Okay, so enough about sweaters. I have plans also for Rhinebeck to knit the eyeball shawl, because I'm going with my sister Allison, and she's a knitter too, and we decided we were going to make matching eyeball shawls so that we can have a pair of eyeballs. It's so ridiculous, but I was thinking I wanted to do a yellow eye. It is a knitting podcast party. This is so fun. Yeah, so I couldn't really find a yellow that I liked for the eye, but I found this on Etsy. Carmen to the rescue with the cocktails. Yeah, so this gorgeous thing is from Piratenwolle, which is a German dyer. Allison knows about her. Yeah, so it's a little more purple in real life, I think, than is coming up. So there's more like purple in there. But yeah, I think it's really autumny and pretty. And this dyer has her sock yarn for €11, which is a really good price if you want really fun colors. It's not the super soft like merino nylon sock yarn that you might be used to, but it is Superwash. It's like great sock yarn. It's like more sturdy, like German typical sock yarn. So, yeah, if you want fun hand-dyed colors, but you don't want to spend $20-something on a skein, this is the best place. And I will put everything I mention in show notes in my Ravelry group, so I don't really know how to, like, link to things while I'm live, so I'm sorry. Oh, okay, Allison says that this yarn softens up after you wash it, which I would assume anyway, but, that's good to know because I have a few of these skeins, but I have never knit with it yet. And she ships internationally. That's also good to know. She doesn't name her colorways. They're just given numbers. And it seems like she only releases like 2 to 4 of each colorway in a shop date. So, shop update. Shop date. So, you have to be kind of fast if there's something specific you want. If you want to look her up right now, it's Piratenwolle, so Piratenwolle. Maybe Allison can type it for me. Yeah, €11. It's such a good price. I love it. So anyway, this is going to be the iris and not the iris. What is it? Yes, the iris. Bye, Ben. Love you. Thank you, Anna. Yes, that's the name of it. Okay, so this is going to be the pupil, and I apologize for how hairy this is. This was sitting in a bag next to some, like, really hairy yarn, and it just totally got all over it, and I can't get the fuzz off. But it is a super, super dark single ply that kind of has this mauve underneath it. I really can't get it to, like, focus. It's so pretty. I got this when I was in Paris with my mom a couple weeks ago, and I got a lot of yarn at this shop that I will show in my wool booty video. It's like way too much to show live, so I sound like a total moron when I try to speak French, but it is from Le Petit Point Parisien. Okay, so they have their own yarns, and they also sell a lot of other yarns there, but the only yarn I bought was the stuff. Oh, I'm glad you like the wool booty videos. I didn't know if people were into that, because I just feel like I'm just talking about shopping the whole time. Oh, thank you. I definitely had to Google the pronunciation because I didn't want to make more of a butt out of myself than I already did. So anyway, lots of really pretty yarns. This is going to be the pupil, and I thought that the kind of mauvey color underneath would look amazing with this. And then for the sclera, I think it's called, the white part, I got some Euro sock from the Madeline Tosh sale section. I got 2 skeins of this, and yeah, it's just a pretty basic, like, natural base with multicolored speckles And there's a lot of pink in there, and so I think it's just going to be like a really warm, autumny eyeball. I'm really excited. And I have the best idea. I've not shared this with anyone, but I think I'm going to put fringe like all over my eyeball shawl so that it has eyelashes. Is that a good idea? I think it's an amazing idea. It's going to be like really eyelashy and droopy and amazing. Yay! I think everybody should do that with their eyeball shawl. Oh my gosh, I'm glad you guys like that idea. Because I like fringe a lot. And I've knit a lot of shawls, but I haven't put fringe on any of them. So I think it's time. And I think the eyeball shawl is the perfect time. But I'm not going to have enough, I don't think, with just this. So I think I'm just going to get like a basic black. Or maybe like a super deep purple. Like my yarn giant is wearing like purple mascara. 10 pounds. Yeah. Good price, huh? Okay. So another thing I got in France, and this is also for Rhinebeck, is this Tweedy yarn. This is Donegal sock. Colorway is Miel? I don't know, M-I-E-L. I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't know if it's French. Yeah. Obviously, I love this color. These are going to be my Rhinebeck socks, and these are going to be the Townu socks by Becky. Very excited. They're going to be my first... Oh, I think that I knew that that meant honey. I totally forgot. Yes. Yes, I really want some Tweedy socks, and I think the texture in the Townu socks is going to be really awesome with this yarn. It's like a really bouncy, twisty sock yarn. So this is merino, and I love this. This is 85% merino, 15% autre, which is other. So it's not nylon, it's other. So I don't know what that means. Because I have other yarn by her, and some of it does say nylon. This does not say nylon. It says other. So who knows what's in my yarn. Maybe I'll email her and ask her. Hello, welcome. Yeah, I'm excited to knit patterned socks for once because I've never done it. But yes, I also thought this would make an amazing sweater, but this was the last one. I actually didn't even see any other tweed. Knit together at Loisivete. Yes, I really want to make one of their knit nights, but the reservation situation seems a little intimidating to me. And it's so far, every time I've been to Paris, I kind of was going last second and didn't have a lot of planning time. But I really want to make it at some point. If I ever go back, when I go back, I will let you guys know. Because I want to meet all the French knitters. Okay, so more future knitting. The Undawa, I'm going to knit with this yarn. This is Hinterland Range, which is amazing. I love Hinterland yarns. If you have been watching my podcast since the start, this is the same brand as the yarn that I like couldn't stop smelling. I know Michelle knows what I'm talking about. This like sad situation of a cardigan I made for Ben that is like 10 sizes too big. Is the same, not the same yarn, but the same wool. So it's half alpaca and half wool, and I think it's Rambouillet. I thought it was Rambouillet, but I've heard a lot of people call it Rambouillet, so I don't really know. But yeah, but it's a really bouncy woolen spun, not worsted spun yarn. So woolen spun is where the fibers are not like laying down together, like they're not combed to all go the same direction. So it's a little more textury. And since they're not combed down together, they have a lot more air in between the fibers. So it's usually lighter, like you get a lot more yardage out of a woolen spun yarn, at least in my experience. I don't want to say things like I know what I'm talking about because I really only know things from my own experience. So that's what it seems like to me, because it's a lot lighter per yard because there's a lot more air in it. So yeah, you get this like really light, squishy, nice fabric out of it, and it smells really good. This is like the best smelling yarn I've ever had. And I've kept it in its original bag so that I can just like open it up and smell it. And so I'm like really afraid it's gonna lose its amazing scent. It's really weird. Confessions of a yarn freak. Okay, so this stuff is 2-ply, worsted weight, Canadian Rambouillet, and 50% homegrown alpaca. So the people that make this yarn have their own alpaca farm, and like you can see pictures of the actual alpaca that your yarn came from. This is the honey colorway, and I think it's really beautiful. A perfume that smells like wool. That would be great. Yes, I'm so glad I'm not the only one that like sniffs their yarn. Yeah. So I'm kind of worried. I don't know, people that knit with cables a lot, like that's not something I do a whole lot. So do you have any advice on using a cable needle versus not? Like, does the cable need to be a certain size to be able to effectively not use the cable needle? Like, do they need to be the really skinny kind, or is it possible to do with the wider ones? I don't really know how to go about doing this, but I want to do all the cables the same from the start because I'm worried they're going to look different if I do them with different techniques. Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, wet wool does not smell as nice. You're so right. Oh, Anna, I watched your latest podcast and you have that lanolin cream like in a tub. Does that smell good? Does it smell like anything? Because if it smells anything like this, I'm definitely going to buy some. I don't know if Anna's still here, but let me know. If anybody uses the lanolin cream, if that's... Does... Oh my gosh, it does. I'm going to buy some. Okay, perfect. No. Dyers or stains. I don't know how you handle your houses smelling like wet wool. Yeah. You're right. Okay, Anna, I'm definitely going to buy some of that lanolin stuff. I have got one more future knitting thing to show you, and that is a sample for my friend Amanda from Geektastic Fibers. She's going to be at Berlin Knits also. She has a booth, so she's going to be selling her yarn there, and you guys have probably seen these on my Instagram. But this is what I'm going to do tonight. After I'm done podcasting, I'm going to wind these up, and I'm going to knit a sock with these. I'm going to do the toe of the sock with this. This is her... I'm sorry I took the labels off, Amanda. I'm going to link to her Etsy shop. It's Geektastic Fibers. Geektastic is one word. But I'll link it in the Ravelry group afterwards. But this is going to be the toe, and then I'm going to do... Yes, I'm doing a fade. I'm doing a fade into the cuff with this neon. Because I don't know if you can tell on camera, but this neon has a lot of this kind of orangey color and the same color dark speckles. So I think they're going to fade really well, actually. But this looks a lot more neon on the camera than in real life, I think. Like this in real life is more orange. But this is her Shetland Wool Week together. Where is Shetland Wool Week? Or when is it? I mean, text me. I want to know about this. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to make a sock with these for her booth. And I promise I'll finish in time, Amanda. I haven't cast it on yet, but a pair of socks I can do in less than a week. I've got 2 weeks to knit one sock, so I'll definitely do it. But I'm going to start that tonight. I don't remember if I mentioned the colorway names, but this is her pumpkin spice latte. It's a new colorway for fall. And then she does a lot of, like, geeky and, like, fandom-related colorways. And so this is her Ghostbusters one. It's called Who You Gonna Call? And there's hairy wool all over it. Yeah. So this is Who You Gonna Call? Kind of looks like Slimer. It's great. I love it. Yeah. I think that's it. So if you didn't catch it earlier, the giveaway is this awesome German yarn, and it is going to be done through Ravelry. So go on the Ravelry group and tell me what your favorite sweater pattern is in the live stream thread. And I'm going to be drawing from that using a random number generator an hour after the podcast. Bye, Tommy. Thanks for stopping in. Okay. So I think that's about it, unless there's, like, anything you guys have questions about, or if you just want to, like, hang out in it online. I've been watching Brooke Knits a lot, like, in the past day and a half, because she's doing this 24-hour sweater thing, and I am really enjoying keeping her company and watching her sweater just, like, unfold before your eyes. She's amazing. So I'm actually going to be jumping on her channel after this at 7:30 my time, which is about in an hour and 20 minutes. Oh, I'm glad you guys are liking the live. I'm enjoying it too. I was really nervous. So yeah, I'm going to be jumping on Brooke Knits at 7:30 my time. So that's in an hour and 20 minutes. She's doing little interviews just to kind of keep interest and to keep herself awake while she's trying to knit this sweater for 24 hours. So I'm going to be over there, and before I'm jumping on to have a chat with her, I'm probably just going to be watching her and knitting. So I really encourage you guys to go, and or if you can't go, at least consider a donation to help the victims of Hurricane Irma. So, thank you guys so much for joining me. There's way more people here. I thought it was going to be, like, 5 people. But I think we had, like, 50 at one point, so that's really awesome. I'm really excited you guys joined me, and I'm glad it was fun. Maybe I'll do this in the future if you guys want me to. I really like that I don't have to spend 7 hours editing today. Oh, thanks, Anna. I don't know, I was nervous because I say a lot, and that really bothers people. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. I'm glad you had fun. Maybe I'll do this, like, once a month or something. Yes, I was surprised there were trolls. Oh, 58. Wow, that's a lot of people. Okay. I'm going to sign off now. I'm going to go say hi to Brooke again, and I will see y'all maybe next week for a regular podcast. Bye!